I am finally ready to talk about the type of cancer that took my sister's life. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. In today's video, I want to share with you the kind of cancer that took my sister's life. For those of you who may be new and don't know, I lost my sister 2 months ago. My sister was diagnosed with stage 4 malignant melanoma. Yes, it was skin cancer. It all began when she had a very large brown, kind of dark brown, crusty looking thing on her back. Upper back, kind of like where your bra ends. And it was probably about that big around. I mean, it was pretty unsightly. And she asked me to take a look at it because her husband noticed it. And I did, and it looked to me like a seborrheic keratosis. The only reason I know about seborrheic keratosis is because I've had a few myself, much smaller, but I have had a few and I had them scraped off. They're harmless, they're not going to lead to cancer or anything like that. They're just ugly. They're kind of crusty and thick, and they're dark in color, brown, and even really dark brown, almost black. So I told her that that's what it looked like to me, but I'm no dermatologist. I have no idea. So I wanted to take her to my dermatologist. Well, of course, she didn't want to go. She said, oh, it doesn't matter, if it isn't going to hurt me or anything, I'll just leave it there. Because she doesn't like to doctor, and the thought of having something scraped off, that just didn't sit well with her. So I told her I was just guessing that's what it was. But I have no idea, and because of the size of it, I felt it was really important that she needed to get it looked at. So to make a long story short, I finally convinced her to go. We went to the dermatologist. She looked at it and right away said it was a seborrheic keratosis and that she could scrape it off. A seborrheic keratosis, to me, kind of looks like a barnacle on a boat, if you will. It's just an ugly, brown, crusty thing that you can scrape off, just like a barnacle. So my sister agreed, and they numbed her back and scraped it off. The problem was, the dermatologist said, that she was very concerned about the mole right above that seborrheic keratosis. Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't notice any mole. I mean, I'm sure I spotted it, but it just looked like a mole. And we all have moles. But unfortunately, hers turned out to be cancer. And not just cancer, but stage 4 melanoma cancer. When the biopsy came back and showed that, she immediately had to have surgery, not by the dermatologist, because when it's stage 4, it's not just on the surface, and you can't do like Mohs surgery where they can go deeper and deeper to try to get a wide margin and any cancer cells. It was already in her bloodstream and deep into her system. So she had a large tumor deep in her back. She went and had that surgery. She also had lymph nodes removed, and the cancer was already in her lymph nodes. From there, she went on treatment like chemotherapy, and she did that for about a year and a half. It seemed to be working because they do the PET scans and MRIs and CT scans and things like that every couple of months. She wasn't really sick on the chemo. I mean, she had some problems, but it wasn't terrible. And they also did immunotherapy. Maybe those are one and the same, I don't know. But I know immunotherapy is more of a targeted treatment. So after about a year and a half, when she got another scan, tumors showed up in her brain. They knew that it was spreading fast. It was a very aggressive form of melanoma cancer. So they decided to give her this targeted immunotherapy cocktail. I think they call it like the devil's cocktail because it's so harsh on your system. It's two very powerful drugs to try to eradicate the cancer. Well, after several months of that, the tumors in the brain were no longer showing up. So that was a very positive sign. However, those drugs were so powerful, made her very sick, and she lost so much weight and had so many problems. The inside of her mouth was burning constantly. She had thrush. She lost 30-some pounds. And because she was having so many physical problems due to the side effects from these two drugs, they had to discontinue that. So unfortunately, she couldn't continue on that path. So then they went to just using one of the drugs. It's a powerful drug, but maybe there would be less side effects since it wasn't that cocktail of the two drugs. She continued and did those treatments. She had her infusions every 3 weeks, and she still had some side effects, not quite as harsh, but she had plenty, enough to keep her really uncomfortable and miserable and sick, and continued weight loss. She started out on this journey at either 137 or 8 pounds, and in the end she weighed 70 pounds, and it went quickly. My sister had no idea that she had cancer or skin cancer. You know, we all have moles and different lumps and bumps and growths on our body, and as we age, particularly after the age of 65, we get more of them. You know, you may have always had a few moles, and now all of a sudden it's doubled. And these other spots that just kind of show up everywhere. Well, it's hard for just a lay person to recognize what spot or mole is normal and what one isn't. I mean, I know they say, you know, the A, B, C, D, and E's are what you should look for. I think the A is asymmetrical, B is border, C is color, D is diameter, and E is evolving. But, you know, you don't remember those things. You may have a mole from a year ago, and now this year it's grown just slightly in diameter, but you're not going to notice that. And with hers being on her back, that's not a part of your body that you typically see. Now, of course, you can turn around in the mirror and use another mirror to look, and you may see a mole, but you can't see it up close enough to really look at it or see if it shows any of those signs. And if it doesn't look weird, even if your husband did your skin check on your back, then you're just not going to pay any attention to it. That's the sneaky thing about skin cancer. We do not know how to recognize it. Only a trained professional can do that for us. My sister had never had a skin check in her life. She didn't doctor. She never went to a dermatologist for any reason because she didn't have any skin issues. So unfortunately, by not getting her skin checked, it was discovered too late. If you have melanoma, the earlier it's discovered, the better. They can do a lot more with it, and you have better chances if you're stage 1 or 2. Once it goes to 3 and then 4, 4 is deadly. I tell you these things because this information can literally save your life. I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything like that, but it is true. You can save your life by getting your skin checks. Most people get one, or you're supposed to get one, every year. I go twice a year, and I've done that for the last 8 or 9 years. And then in between times, if I go to the dermatologist for something else, if I notice a new mole or a new spot or a new anything, I ask her to check it. The skin is the largest organ on our body. And it just seems so hard for me to believe that a mole, something that everybody has, moles, can kill you, can be deadly, and can happen so quickly. Now, most of us, get other things done and checked. I know people get yearly mammograms to hopefully catch breast cancer early. You can do a self-breast exam, and if you feel a lump, it may be nothing, but that may send you to the doctor to have it checked. Colonoscopies, I think they get them every 10 years. You can't see inside there, but maybe you have stomach problems or bowel problems or some kind of indication that something isn't right. So you go to the doctor and he suggests a colonoscopy. With our skin, I just don't see any way to see a sign. I can't tell what is asymmetrical, or the border is a little off, or it's grown in diameter a little bit. If it just grew a little bit, that might be stage 1 or 2. But that's hard to see with the naked eye of just normal people like us who aren't professionals. And they do other testing. There's other things involved. I don't want to get too technical because, well, number one, I'm not a professional. I'm only sharing what I know from what my sister went through. But everybody has something called a BRAF gene, B-R-A-F. And in this melanoma cancer, they do a test on the BRAF gene to see if it has mutated, if the cells have gone wonky, and you have a 50% chance that it has. That's not a real good chance. It's not the lowest, but it's just kind of a toss of the coin kind of chance. And unfortunately, Hers had mutated, and this cancer was spreading all over her body, and very quickly. She continued to go downhill. She got tumors wrapped around her intestines. She had to have that surgery to have them removed. But the doctor said they will come back, and probably within a month. It was terrible that she had to go through that surgery, which was pretty invasive, just to have it come back in a month. But she had no choice because it was strangulating her bowels and her intestines, and that could have exploded. So they had to do that surgery. And sure enough, 4 to 5 weeks later, the tumors were back. Oh my gosh, it was so difficult to see and watch everything that she had to go through. Now, all cancer is important. I mean, it's important for us to be aware of it. And like I said, some cancers people check on more often or do those routine checks. Or maybe you have a physical symptom or sign that will lead you to the doctor to have it checked out. With skin cancer, I think it's pretty much impossible for just a lay person to be able to recognize that. The point I want to make in this video is to please get your yearly skin checks, because it literally can save your life. Melanoma cancer is caused by UV rays, being in the sun, but not always. You can get melanoma and you've never been out in the sun or been a sunbather or things like that, and you always wore sunscreen. We can't explain why these things happen. Even if you're a young person, you still need to get your skin checked, because young people can get melanoma as well. But it becomes much more prevalent in older people, or as we get older. And like I said, in particular, after the age of 65. My goodness, every day when I wake up or look at a different part on my body, I see a spot that wasn't there the day before. Could be an age spot, could be a new mole, could be anything. But we have to be aware of these things. It's so important. So I leave you with this information in the hope that you all take this very seriously and do yourself a favor. Give yourself the gift of getting your yearly skin checkups from head to toe. Maybe we pay too much attention to the wrong things. We look in the mirror and we see new wrinkles that popped up overnight. Or all of a sudden our skin looks saggier. Or we wake up and realize, oh my gosh, I didn't have these dark circles or bags under my eyes before. Again, that all comes from age. But you know what? You can live with that. That's not going to take your life. Skin cancer, stage 4, malignant melanoma, will. I encourage you to go out and get your skin checked or schedule an appointment today. Well, now I want to leave you with an inside beauty tip. My inside beauty tip today comes from Revelations 21:4. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. My sister really fought the battle. She never gave up. She never got discouraged and said, "I quit." She had to go through so much. Having those surgeries in such a weakened state and her body just run down and so depleted, she did it anyhow. She had a positive attitude, and I never saw her cry about it, ever. And she didn't want any of us crying either. You know, as believers, we only have two choices when we're hit with a deadly diagnosis or suffering, and that is to draw near to God or to give up our faith. I believe my sister drew near to God. When I moved up to her house to take care of her because she was on hospice and I was her caregiver, I would get in the bed with her many times and just talk to her or say different things, maybe get upset, which I know she didn't like. And at that point, she was pretty much non-responsive, but I would say things to her like, "I don't want you to go. I don't want you to leave me," and things like that. And she would just pat my hand or whisper, I know, it will be okay." She was comforting me. She remained strong through it all. She knew what was happening. She knew her life was coming to an end. And she accepted it, and accepted it with grace. I know she lives on in eternity, and I know I will be reunited with her someday in heaven. That gives me peace and comfort just to know that. You guys, I know it's just a cliche and something commonly said. Life is short. You know, enjoy your life, live your life. Life is short. But it truly is. And this is a prime example of it. Different things, these things can happen to all of us. So give thanks for your life. Be grateful for it. And don't waste any of your time. I thank you so much for being here today. I truly do appreciate it. And until we meet again, this is the old girl signing out. See ya.